We have an interactive session coming up now. Let me request our founder, Nitin Gokhale, to escort the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Chief Marshal AP Singh, to the stage. Can I have a round of applause, please? But Nitin, before I hand over the session to you, I would like to take the liberty of welcoming the first woman Air Marshal of the Indian Air Force, the second woman in the Indian Armed Forces to be promoted to a 3-star rank, the first woman officer to specialize in aviation medicine, the first woman to complete the Defense Services Staff College course. And ladies and gentlemen, today is her birthday. She is very young. I don't think I should disclose her age. Air Marshal Dr. Padmavathy Bandopadhyay is here with us. Can I have a round of applause? Can we please welcome her? And can I please request the Chief of the Air Staff and Nitin Gokhale to present a small memento on our behalf. Ma'am, can you please come up on stage? Ladies and gentlemen, Air Marshal Dr. Padmavathy Bandopadhyay. Ma'am, thank you so much for taking out the time to join us. Thank you so much. I now hand over the session to you, Nitin.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so glad to see a full house, and naturally so, because I know he won't like what I say. A rock star is here in the house, especially after Operation Sindoor. A big round of applause. And more than anything else, I think a professional discussion is something that this house would certainly want. There are defense attaches from different foreign countries who are posted in Delhi. There are industry stalwarts, there's veterans, serving officers, your own colleagues, and industry representatives from both OEMs as well as Indian companies, startups, as you saw as we came in. And I'm so glad that we are discussing this in a year when we completed 10 years. And of course, Operation Sindoor has been on everybody's lips. But I'm not going to get into Operation Sindoor so much because I think there is an overdose of Operation Sindoor everywhere. But let me start with a very obvious question Operation Sindoor or the Russia-Ukraine war or the Israel-Gaza conflict everywhere, the primacy of air power is probably being reasserted or being restated. And how do you see this evolving further? I mean, in a sense, what is the importance of air power and how do you see this evolving further?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you very much and for inviting me here.
My pleasure.
So as far as air power is concerned, I think there was no doubt in anybody's mind about what air power can do. This is one element of power that we have, which has the flexibility, the reach, the precision that you need, and the punch.
Sure.
So, of course, when there are events like this, it's like you tend to forget what you keep reading, what is taught to you earlier when you don't go to temple for some time. And the day you visit your temple or Gurdwara or Masjid, wherever, you suddenly get reminded, okay, oh, this is what was said and I have to live like this. So events like this actually serve that purpose.
True.
That you again realize, oh, what saved us the day was the air power. And when I say air power, it is not just air force, it is the medium of air that we are talking about.
Right.
That comprehensive air power.
Various air vectors.
Yes,
which were
everything,
used.
everything. And I think this is the future. This is the fastest growing arm of defense that we have seen.
Sure.
In 120 years, we've reached,
Correct.
where we've reached. And it is going to continue.
Yeah.
So that is how it is going to be. And it is a challenging task for us to remain abreast of the technology, the new things, and be innovative. That is what is going to save us the day. Because technology will keep evolving. There will be surprises every time. Every time a new thing will come in. And we have to be innovative to use the right punch at the right time.
Exactly. That was exactly my next question. Actually, you snatched some of the words from there. Technology is
I
changing.
actually
so
read that paper.
That's good. You have that long vision to do that. Now, the whole issue is technology is changing so fast. I mean, especially in the last 15, 20 years, and especially now with AI coming in, people talking about drones, counter drones, quantum technology, quantum communication. How does the Air Force, which obviously is one of the technology-based forces amongst the three services, very high intensity technology absorption happens. But do you find it a challenge, or do you find it something that the Air Force can manage, the changes, rapid changes in technology going forward?
So I've said it earlier also. I think the curve, technology curve is an exponential curve.
Absolutely.
So wherever you're sitting, when you look backward, you get a feeling, no, it was not so steep. And further, when you look at the things, the way they are evolving, it appears very steep. So I think our predecessors also have gone through similar situation where they felt over a period of time, like when we grew up, the technology, the pace at which it was growing was not so much as we see now. So I don't think it is something new. Yes, with the software-based technology that is coming in, the replenishment cycle, if I can call it, I don't know whether it's the right word or not, is becoming faster. Earlier, mechanically, things improved over a period of time. There was a lot of, the R&D process was much longer. You had to try various permutation combination. Now you just have to sit and write the code, then keep playing on simulation and get it right, and then just have to prove it in actual. So it becomes much faster, the computer-aided things and AI-enabled things. And so that way, the cycle is becoming faster. But so are we. If you look at today's generation, the way they adapt to technology. Like I just read a joke somewhere, a child is born with a hand like this because he's asking for a mobile today. So it's like that. So they are adapting to this technology that much easily. What took me long to understand is second nature for them. So I don't think it's a big challenge. Yes, keeping pace with it in terms of capability and capacity both is where we have to look at. Training human part will not be a big challenge. I think that will not be a big challenge.
That's interesting that you say that, because while technology in the civilian sector also evolves faster, they always find that there are not enough people who can absorb that technology faster. But that may not be the case in the Air Force, you're saying, or even generally in the armed forces, that their adaptability or their ability to adapt to new technologies is much more than, say, other segments of the society or the government.
It's not that. Let's look at a mobile.
Okay.
I'm just giving a random example.
Right.
I think all of us go for the latest model, but we don't use more than 1 or 2% of the capability of that mobile.
True.
We just want to make a call, see some, click some good pictures, or do some kind of a data exchange. Very, very, basic. But we want the latest mobile, and 90% of that is getting unused. But if you talk about technology in a sector like medical field, where you're using it for operating on people or treating patients, I'm sure they are using 90-95% of the technology. Otherwise, they will not survive. Right. So similarly, in our case, when a new technology comes in, we can't be just using it, just for the show of it. Like I can't be buying latest equipment and say just to operate it the way we used to operate earlier.
Right.
So I have to use it, जिसको बोलते हैं juice निकालना पड़ेगा उसका.
Correct. So you have the mechanism and the ability to do that.
So the training becomes very important. With every change in technology, every change in equipment, it's very important to train yourself to be able to use it effectively in all situations. That is very important.
That's interesting. But that brings me to the question that a lot of people ask post the Armenia-Azerbaijan conflict. There was this trend that now only drone warfare will take place. Counter drones had not yet come in. Then counter drones came in. Now during Sindoor or even what we see between Russia and Ukraine, the proliferation of number of different types of drones and counter drones, it's like a rich electromagnetic field that gets created. How do you distinguish, how do you counter those kind of crowding of the skies or the aerospace or the airspace, if not aerospace, airspace? How do you do that? What are the mechanisms for that?
Some of it is trade secret. I will not be
that's
telling
fine.
you.
That's fine.
Yeah, but one is of course first about drones. It's a very it's a new thing which has come into the market. It's a new thing which is playing on our mind. But they can only do up to a certain level. Drones, if I can put it across, they can't really win you wars. They can aid. They can create confusion. They can do, a swarm drone system will be very difficult to, it can create a overload of data, overload of information, overload of confusion.
Sure.
That can be created. But if you want to finally hit a place, decimate a place, deep inside the enemy territory, you need to have those weapons which will carry a punch, which a drone really cannot do as of now. So that is one part of it. But yes, it's a big challenge to manage a drone environment because you will have, if you keep your jammers on, your own things can get jammed. And so there will have to be some procedural controls or some, kind of an identification where we know whom to jam, whom not to jam. So as like that, with every new technology, the counter technology develops automatically.
Absolutely.
The procedures develop, the training helps you in that. You create a lot of exercises to understand the nuances. And then there are certain experiences like actual operations, which you learn from and you evolve from there. So that is a continuous process. So that process is on. It will require a lot of synchronization between various agencies because drones are being operated by different agencies. So there has to be, kind of a joint structure which will look after this. Something like air defense.
Air defense.
Doing in air defense.
Or even policies have to be aligned everywhere.
Yes,
I suppose
absolutely.
civil aviation, also even military aviation.
Absolutely.
All the three services will have to also
Three
get
services,
aligned.
paramilitary forces, and there are some civil applications.
That's right.
Everything has to come in together.
But one takeaway from your answer is also that manned aircraft are not going anywhere.
No, they are very much here. They are very much here because when it is a complicated situation, you have to have a better essay. So you will always have a man in the loop that time. And also ethical reasons, certain places.
Sure.
You will have to have a man in the loop. So at least in near foreseeable future, manned aircraft is not going anywhere. You see the world over. It is still under development. People are going in for 6th-gen aircraft, which has a manned, unmanned teaming. But
correct.
It's manned, unmanned teaming.
So there is a man in the loop,
yes,
like you're saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah. In our context, of course, that is more important. But also, have you through, now I need to bring in Sindoor here just for an example. Long-range weapons, precision weapons are now becoming a weapons of choice. I mean, you look at what has happened between Balakot and now. In Balakot, the aircraft had to go a certain distance and then hit the thing. In this case, we don't know what exactly, what kind of thing I'm sure you don't want to disclose that. But we know BrahMos were used. So, are the longer ranges becoming more of the weapons becoming more important for the armed forces?
So it is all situational.
Okay.
I think if you have, firstly you have to have the kind of, it's always weapon to target matching which you go.
Right.
That means it has to hit the target,
Sure.
create the correct kind of effect on the target, and also the accuracy requirements that we have. Many places you will you want to use a weapon which will have minimal collateral because your aim is to hit your objective and nothing more.
Sure.
So that focus has to remain. Yes, a longer range weapon will keep your assets that much safer and keep the enemy guessing that much more, as to when is it going to be released and from where it is going to be released.
True.
But it's not that you only need long-range weapons. You need a happy mix of all kinds of weapons.
Absolutely.
Because different situations will require different, it's not that one paracetamol can give you, solution to every ailment.
No.
It's not that way.
Of course not. But also what was proved in Sindoor is BrahMos, for instance, indigenously made, Akash defense, air defense systems indigenously made. So in that context, how are you re-energizing or strategizing with the private sector and the existing public sector and your own, your own establishments, R&D establishments are there. I think Air Force has done that in SDI and other establishments that you have. What is the roadmap for that? I mean, everybody keeps talking about Viksit Bharat 2047, but are we on a track to do that properly, or you're still groping in the dark?
So I won't say we are groping in the dark. I think we are on our track. Yes, we need to pace up a little more, need to increase the speed. And work is happening towards that. A lot of our policies, regulations are being aligned to give it traction. And also, as far as the private sector is concerned, a lot of emphasis is, push is being given to private sector, the MSMEs. We have these IDEX challenges. We have various make programs, which are to encourage smaller players also to come up. There are even playing fields sort of, being ensured for PSU and a private sector, so that there is no specific, advantage to a PSU. So all that is happening over a period of time. AMCA program now, this public-private, partnership, the new sort of method that we are going to follow this time. There's a good response on that.
Okay.
So I find that we are in the right direction, and we are cleaning up things fast. But yes, the faster the better. There is always scope for improvement, and that will happen over a period of time.
So I think we got our theme right for the conference. We said
Yes,
future forward, global partnerships and indigenous development
So
both.
I think I can add to that when I was reading your theme, I said it's actually hitting the nail on the head.
Okay.
No, we cannot say that we should totally be aloof and doing everything on our own. We need to have some good partnerships to develop our own technology and catch up with certain places where we are lacking.
Right.
We can't say we are the best in the world.
Sure.
We all have pluses and minuses. So wherever we don't have that, we should do some partnerships with the right people and reach a stage where everything, we don't have to rely on others to even fight a normal war. We should be doing everything ourselves. So 2047 dream is that dream. When we are totally self-reliant as far as basics are concerned at least.
Sure.
That is what the
So I think these last 10 years have proved that when you start the journey, there will be obstacles, there will be slowed down. In fact, our own tagline in Bharat Shakti is self-reliance in defense. But that's going to take, at least another 25 years or so. But the journey has to be made. I think that has to be done. But one of the things that I wanted to ask you, post-Operation Sindoor, you must have gone abroad, you must have interacted with professional colleagues in other air forces and all that. How do they see Operation Sindoor and the Air Force's success? I mean, do they talk about it? Do they ask you multiple questions? How did you carry this? What happened? What are the lessons? Or what's the reaction there?
So I've been to one Global Chiefs conference sometime in July, August in UK.
Okay.
And I found other two wars were being discussed, but there was no mention of even Operation Sindoor.
Why was that?
So I think...
What's your guess?
So as I look at it, because those are protracted wars, they're continuing, and maybe people are not comfortable talking about another war in some other region where they had nothing to do with that, I mentioned there also, and it's one thing that they need to learn from Operation Sindoor is how to terminate a conflict. Selection and maintenance of aim. I think that is where the world is going haywire.
Right.
They are forgetting their own objectives when all these wars that are going on, how they started, with what objective they started, where have they landed up, and now it is more of maybe egos or maybe self-pride, whatever you call it. In our case, our objective was very clear, which was achieved on the very first day itself.
That's right.
And thereafter, at the first opportunity when, they come in, we had offered
On the first day
on the
itself.
first day itself.
Yes.
But that was not agreed to. But whenever the adversary came and said, we want to stop, I think that was a very good call taken. And 3.5 days, I think about 85 hours or 84 hours, we were able to terminate a conflict. And otherwise, we don't know where we would have gone after that.
So,
So I think that is something that some
they've
people
not,
have to
they've
learn.
not realized that, I suppose.
They are not realizing
They're
that.
not realizing that. But I also, as a long-time observer of military affairs, in India at least, if not elsewhere, is also the very visible politico-military synergy that was visible for us outside the system. And also the integration or jointness and the coordination between the three services. How was that experience?
So I think I've spoken about it earlier also.
Okay, but we
I
would
think
like-
this was a very good, part of the whole thing, that there was so much of synergy between the political directions and leadership, between various agencies involved, between the three services. I said it earlier also, the NSA and the CDS, they played a good role in getting everybody together and, orchestrating the whole thing as a synergized operation, not individually fighting your own war. So it was a very good example of synergy and jointmanship, which I think we need to take forward from here.
So how do you take that? So I can't resist but ask you this question about theaterization, because I know you will try and avoid this, but I will ask this nevertheless. But people are saying that if Sindoor was an example, because you have said this, that Sindoor was an example that where you don't need but I'm quoting critics of people of theaterization model or no theaterization model. Why are we not looking at theaterization, or is it that its jointness and integration is the key to it?
So I think, if I may say that, I don't know what exact words were spoken because, but it's misquoting. I am not saying that we don't need another structure.
Right.
We may need another joint structure. What my way of looking at it is, let's not go by some structure which exists somewhere else and say that this will fit us.
Certainly
Let's
not.
look at our, what we have today.
Yeah.
Where did we falter? Did we falter? If we
Did we falter there?
yes, if we did not, then what did we do good? Let's make it more, formalized. Maybe this time it was our own personal equation with each other that worked. Tomorrow it may not be so.
Sure.
Maybe, because we are all humans,
Absolutely.
There will be people with slight difference of opinion and all that.
Right.
But if there's a formalized structure, it will help us. No, what should that structure be?
That
How
needs to
deep should we make the so-called, if I can call them reforms? Is if it is hurting me somewhere, I should only reform that first.
Sure.
And what should be the model? Should I go stepwise? Should I go full bore in one go? This is something which is under discussion, and I'm sure, all of us, I'm very convinced, whether it is any of us, nation comes first. So
True.
whatever decision
And
will
nobody
be
has
taken,
that doubt. Let me tell
that's
you.
what I'm saying. Whatever decision finally is taken will be for the good of the nation, and let's let it evolve.
So the
That
journey is
happening.
on.
Yeah, absolutely.
The journey is
Journey
on.
is on. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know, because otherwise there were lots of apprehensions that happened. But let me thank you, because I know that you've already spent a little more time than you intended to. But thank you for these insights, and especially the last clarification, and also about technology absorption in the armed forces, especially in the Air Force. Thank you very much for these insights. Ladies and gentlemen, a good round of applause
Thank you.
for the Chief.
Thank
and
you very
thank you for coming in. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and may I request Nitin Gokhale to please present a memento to the Chief of the Air Staff. And the Air Chief Marshal will now present a memento to Nitin. Thank you so much. Can we have a photograph or has the photograph happened? Can we have a photograph, please, the two of you?